Welcome back for another bit of Members First content. This is my top 10 in 10 for July 7th, 2023. Members are going to see this as soon as I can get done editing, film this, take my son to flag football practice on Thursday, but they'll get it on Thursday while everybody else have to wait to get it on Friday. And these will be my top 10 books for the week for July 7th, as I said. A few things moving on the aftermarket, some new things, a couple of things we've seen before, but I got some different ways that we can look at some of the sales data. So hopefully you're enjoying this. Hopefully you're finding this helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We are on our way to 3K. And if you want to see the top 10 books for this week, just hang off for a few seconds after the intro and I will be right back. All right, so let's get into it. Our top 10 in 10. Let me get my clock started. As you know, we'll do this in 10 minutes or less, and we're just going to run these books down for you. And starting now, we are going to start off with our follow-up to some of the new books released this week, some of the books I talked about on the Wednesday watch list, and we're going to start off with Captain America. It's July 4th week after all, so Captain America issue 750, the 1 in 50 Granoff cover. Gorgeous cover. I wish I would have been able to order one of these ahead of time, but I missed it. I didn't see the art until very recently. Otherwise, I would have tried to get a hold of one. Now, this one's not selling a ton of volume at the moment, but then again, there's not a ton of copies available either. But we can point out some of these sales this week because they are above that ratio mark. So we're looking at $75, $65, $100, and a best offer on $115. And these are all sales, during this past week. A couple were, pre-sales, obviously, and then release day on July 5th. But regardless, within the last week, these are copies that have sold for this book. And it's, like I said, selling at a little bit of a premium. Now, the book you probably expected to see talked about first is the book that's been selling the most this week, and I'm sure a lot of people are still talking about this book. This Venom, Extreme Venomverse book. This is a 1 in 25 incentive. And yes, there's a first appearance of this, I forget what the hell this character is even called. This Venom, manga Venom, however you want to say it. This is 1 in 25, and there have already been 60 plus sales of this incentive just in the last few days. Just the past week. So a couple of pre-sales, but by and large, copies just sold this week over 1 in 25. It's a lot of sales. I don't think this book is particularly hard to find. I think people are just paying an exorbitant amount of money for FOMO. But I could be wrong. Maybe this is the next great character. I don't know, though. I doubt it. I feel like people are just getting FOMO for this book and thinking that it's harder to find than it actually is. As I said, 60 plus sales is no small number for a book that just came out this week. And it's a 1 in 25 incentive. But I don't want to linger on that fact for too long. Prices have kind of bumped up, too, from our pre-sale when we were looking at this for the Wednesday watch list. These are now selling around $150. Again, not me, but watch your wallets. That's a lot of money for a 1 in 25. That has a lot of volume moving right now. And before you get into it, well, it's the first appearance of this manga Venom. Yeah, fine. But this isn't the only cover that, manga Venom appears on, because it's on the cover A. So you can't make that argument. Cover A has the character. And if it's all about the character, then explain to me why that 1 in 25 is selling for $150. Meanwhile, the regular cover A for this hot new character is selling for cover price or less still. One would think if it's because of the character, all of the books would be up, but they're not. It's just the one book. It's just the one cover. And yes, it is a pretty cool cover. I do like it. I kind of want one, but not for these prices. That's just me, though. Kind of getting into the same thing with another book that was on the list last week. I don't like doing repeats, but you know what? I can't deny the fact that some of these books are still selling. So we're going to have to talk about some books more than once. Dr. Aphra, number 33, the Ayla Secura cover. Still another 50 plus sales on this cover for this week. I point out this cover because it's still selling for about the same amount as it was last week, $15 to $25 kind of dollars. So it's not so much a price increase at this point, except for the fact that this is like a variant cover. It's like the B cover, C cover, whatever you want to call it. But the cover A, which last week was also kind of selling a little bit more than normal, was like selling for $10 to $12. That has kind of dropped off. So it seems to all be about the one cover, because it's not about this new Star Weird character inside, I don't think, because if it were, all of the books would be selling at a premium, you would think, not just the one cover, because the other covers of Dr. Aphra 33 are back down to selling for less than cover price. So it's not all about Star Weird, because Star Weird's not on any of the covers. They just want the Ayla Secura cover. Moving on. Another book that's on the list again is Hulk. Hulk, that annual #1 for that elder character. More than 50 sales again this week. So it's down a little bit from last week, which I think was like 60 plus sales. Now it's 50 plus. But the interesting thing about this is there are other covers for this one, but those, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong information shown in front of me. But trust me, I don't want to have to redo this. The prices are actually up for all of them, as you'll see here. So prices are kind of consistent for that regular cover A that everybody's looking for. But the other covers here, like here's a B cover. There's also a Maestro cover. These ones are also being brought up with that cover A. So everything's selling for like $10 to $15. So not a high increase or anything like that. It's just more consistency's sake in all of the covers. So maybe this one has a little bit more legs than those other ones. I don't know. News this week that rumor Channing Tatum might be appearing in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and he might finally be playing Gambit. Sure, it'll be a fun gag. I get it. I like Gambit. I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I don't know how much that means we need to go and get our first appearance as a Gambit, but it did remind everybody of Gambit, so it's selling again. Gambit usually sells consistently anyway, but 60 plus sales for this week is a little bit of a bump. It's not just this one. It's also, it's not just Uncanny 266. It's also the debatable first appearance in the annual #14, which came out first. He's in plenty of panels, but nobody likes to call that the first appearance. Either way, 266 is still the more valuable of the two as far as prices go. And again, prices are still pretty consistent. Look, 130, 160, 150. One of those is a 9.0, but mind you, the other two are raw, but still solid amount for that Gambit in Uncanny 266. I'm not even going to say first because I don't want to get in that argument. But this is the book that still people choose. On the cover, classic cover. Everybody remembers this one. Now, a couple other books we need to race through because I kind of lingered at the start here complaining about some of the other books. But one thing that I noted, I think I saw this on Key Collector's trending list for whatever reason, is this Venom 2099 #1. 20 plus sales. Not a ton. And there are more covers than this one. There's a B cover as well, which has like the female Venom. I can't remember what the 2099 second Venom's name. It's like Belle. It's like a female character. Anyway, still 20 plus sales, not a ton, but it's enough for me to notice that it is selling, and it is selling for a little bit of more than I would have thought. Like I would have thought this was like a $5 to $10 book, but it's more closer to $20, as you can see here with some of these sales. And again, 20 is not a huge amount, but it was still worth noting that these 2099 characters, I think, are moving because of the 2099 property is kind of hot, I guess. Maybe it's thanks to Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know. But with 2099, we still have to talk about Spider-Man #1, 2099. And I know you're going to look at this and go, what are you talking about? 20 plus sales. This week, I decided to focus just in again on those 9.8s, which I believe I did last week. But this is 20 plus 9.8 sales over the last 7 days. So you look at some of the prices here, ticking up a little bit. They were around like 170, even a low of 150, but then there are some higher ones in there as it's crossing over $200. So the price is starting to tick up on the 9.8, and with 20 plus sales, I think that's a decent amount of volume for 9.8 copies. I know there's a lot of them, but that's still a lot of movement for a premium price that you're paying for this, because you can still get raws of this for like 20, $25. So for people to be shelling out close to $200, that's notable to me. Speaking of notable ways to look at things again, because we have to keep talking about them, it's still SpiderBoy. People are still spending on SpiderBoy. This is issue 7. Once again, this cover, the secret cover, 20 plus sales. These are, again, 9.8 sales. So 20 plus 9.8 sales the last 7 days. Prices are about the same as they've been, right around that $100 mark. Getting a little highs of like 130, some dip around $90. But by and large, it's around $100.90 right now, still. And with 20 plus copies, it's still movement. There's still movement on this book. And raws you're getting right around like 30 to 40 these days still. People are still looking forward to SpiderBoy. I get it. Like I said, I'm tired of talking about it, but there it is. Minute 20 left. one that we could probably put on this list every week, because you go from all the different places you can get your top 10 list, whether you go from the volumes over on Go Collect or you look at cover prices, top 10 of the week, you'll often see Spawn 1 selling. It's always selling. So I decided, you know what, this week I'll throw it on our list here too, just to talk about it. So Spawn 1, once again, volumes aside on this one, it's still pretty consistent. The way I want to look at Spawn number 1 this week is the 9.8 prices again. Since I was on that 9.8 roll, I decided to keep rolling it this way. And you can look how it's been kind of trending over the last week or so, where it was having lows of around 130, but highs nearing that $200 mark again, which may not seem like a lot, but it is rebounding. There was a sale most recently on July 4th on eBay there, like $180 for 9.8. And you can look at the bar chart. It is starting to tick back up again, because that bar was like right around the $140, $150 mark. So prices are starting to be on the rise again for the 9.8. And with 20 seconds left, we got one book left for me to talk about. So let me speed it on over, and we're going to talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark number 1. I know the movie didn't do all that well. I'm still not looking forward to seeing it. They should have left it after 3, but we got 4 and we got 5. Volumes are there. Prices aren't that high for this Raiders of the Lost Ark 1, but I wanted to point out the 9.8 prices, because you look recent sales over the last month, 200, 160, 225. There was a high at 298, but this past week, a 9.8, July 5th sold for $330. So I thought that was notable. I know we went a few seconds over with the clock, so I had to get rid of it, but that is our top 10 in 10 for this week. Thank you, everyone, for all your support. Thanks to all the members. Thank you for everybody else who are supporting the channel. If you're not subscribed, please just hit the subscribe button, hit the alert so you get all the shows, because we got content coming every day to you. And with that, thank you all. I appreciate it. Sorry I ran kind of weak, going haphazard here today, but I'm just kind of rushing to get this thing done before, again, got to go to football practice. So with that, I'll see you all later with some more content. All right. Bye.